सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् तदनन्यत्वम् आरम्भणशब्दादिभ्यः तद अनन्यत्वम्. The effect is non-separate from the material cause, and so the Jagat of the universe is non-separate from Brahman, which means Jagat is Mithya and Brahman is Satyam. On what basis do you say that? Arambhana Shabdadibhya. Because of passages such as Arambhanam, such as the origin. So, Vacharambhanam, Vikaramanamodhayam, this and other passages, it is very clear that effect is Mithya and material cause is Satyam. Brahman being material cause is Satyam and Jagat is Mithya. Therefore, the division that you experience of the Bhogya and the Bhokta, this division also is not the ultimate reality. It has some reality called Vyavaharik reality. At the empirical level, that the world is different, I am different, that division is okay. But from the standpoint of the absolute reality, world in fact doesn't have any existence apart from Brahman. So that's the whole point that is being discussed here. We were reading the Vaiyasika Nyayamala. Tasmat Shruti Yukti Bhaditattvat Vyavaharikau Bheda Bhedau. Bheda and Abheda. So the argument here is that okay, the reality is abheda, one at the level of cause, and bheda, many at the level of effect, which is how the discussion proceeded in the previous sutra or previous adhikarana, that from the standpoint of samudra or the ocean there is oneness, from the standpoint of waves there is manyness. And therefore, bhoktarapatya, the Purva Paksha was that if Brahman is one, non-dual, undivided basically, then Jagat being the product of Brahman also should be undivided. But Jagat is divided into the Bhokta and Bhogya, the subject and the object. Therefore, Brahman also should be divided. Brahman cannot be undivided, cannot be non-dual. Meaning that Brahman, the non-dual, cannot be the Jagat Karanam. Pradhanam should be Jagat Karanam. Or something else should be Jagat Karanam, not Brahman. Based on what we experience, Drishti, and the reasoning based on that experience, this is the conclusion. The answer was given that no, Syal Lokavad. Just as in our day-to-day life, at the level of cause, the ocean is one. At the level of effect, the waves are many. And therefore, the oneness of the cause is not opposed to the manyness of the effect. This example was given to show how the cause can be one and still the effect can be many. So, nahi drishte anupannam namayati nyayat, because that's what you see. Atrapi brahmakar jagadakaro drishto. So at the level of akara, that samudra is one akara, waves and foam and bubble have another akara, thus there is a difference between them. Similarly also, Brahma is one akara and Jagat is another akara. But then, so Brahmana, we says, iti chet, if this is what you say, our answer is no. Brahmana shastraika samadigamyatvat. Brahman can be known only through shastra, not through inference. You cannot infer about Brahman based on what you see in the Jagat, because shastraika gamyam, Brahman is to be known only from shastra. Tasmat Shruti Yukti Bhaditatvad Vyavahariko Bheda Bhedau. So this Bheda Bheda is Bhadita. Shruti and Yukti. Neha Nanasti Kinchana. Shruti says there is no duality here in Brahman. Yukti also says that these two contradictory things, Bheda and Abheda, the two contradictory things, cannot be in one location because they are mutually exclusive. Therefore also one entity cannot be bhinna and abhinna. Kim tahi tattvam? Then what's the reality? Advaitameva tattvam iti brumaha. What there is one non-dual. Whether you see Jagat, doesn't matter what you see, doesn't matter what you perceive. Meaning that Brahman is one, non-dual, undivided, is not opposed by even perception also, because perception is one scope and Shastra has another scope. Karyasya karana anatirekena karamatrasya vastutvat. The effect is non-separate from material cause, and therefore material cause alone is vastu or the reality. Tathacha shruti mritshruti mritika drishtandaihi karanasya satyatvam pratipadayati. And by drishtanda, illustrations of mritika etc., Shruti very clearly pratipadayati, delineates the reality of karanam, of material cause. Yatha somya ekena mritpindena saramrunmaya vijñātam syāt. So idea is that prauda mritpinda. What is effect? Effect is only vikara samsthana visheshaha. The idea is what you call effect, such as a pot, is only a different configuration of clay, nothing else. What you call the lump is one configuration of clay or the particles of clay, and pot is another configuration. In that sense, the pot, which is called vikara or the product, is indeed not different from clay. Therefore, na prasak vastu bhutaha, a pot does not enjoy a reality other than that of clay. Just as Devadatta is a sitting Devadatta, standing Devadatta, running Devadatta, all these are different configurations of Devadatta. That does not mean Devadattas are different. Similarly also, the Ghata, Sharava, etc., the different configurations of clay, and they are not apart from clay. Tatah mrudi avagatayam ghatadinam yat tatvikam swarupam tad sarvam avagatam. The pratigna is eka vijnanena sarva vijnanam. By knowing one, you know everything. That's the pratigna. Therefore, mrudi avagate. That being the case, inasmuch as what we call the effect or vikara or the pots and pans do not have reality apart from the material cause, namely clay, therefore mrudi avagate. When you know the clay, you have as well known all the vikaras, modifications of clay. Ghatadena yat tatvikam swarupam tassaram avagatam. Everything is a tatvikam swarupam and a vyavaharikam swarupam. Everything that we experience as a vyavaharika swarupa and a tatvika swarupa. So by knowing the clay, the tatvika swarupa, the essence of the pot is known. Akara vishesha na jnayate iti ched. You claim that by knowing clay, you have as well known the pot, but that's not right. By knowing the clay, you may know the essence of the pot, but how about the shape of the pot, volume of the pot, and all the other vyavaharik details? So, the empirical reality of pot is not known. The essence of pot is known, but the empirical aspect of the pot is not known. Na jnayate says ma jnayatam nama. It does not matter if the akara, the shape of the pot, etc., is not known by knowing the clay. Tesham avastu bhutanam ajijnasa arhatvad. Because that does not, in fact, create any inquiry or any kind of curiosity in us. Once we know the essence of pot, then as I said yesterday, it depends on where you are looking at. For a Westerner, that Badrinath is an object. What is it? What stone is made of? For Swamiji it was Bhagavan. So it depends on how you look at the things. So we are kept happy and satisfied when we know that pot is clay. Other things do not interest us. Chakshusha pratibhasamanaha vivikaraha nirupitaha santah mrudvyatirekena na swarupam kinchit labhante. Vikaraha chakshusha pratibhasamanaha api. So, or chakshusha should be, I guess, Pratibhasamana api vikaraha nirupitaha santah. So even though it is true that with your eyes you do appreciate the shape of the pot, nirupitaha santah, but what is the reality? What is the ultimate reality of this pot? Mrudvyatirekena na swarupam kinchit labhante. As far as the shape is concerned, volume is concerned, weight is concerned, cost is concerned, none of them have a reality apart from clay, because remove the clay from the pot and no pot remains. Ghatoyam sharavayam iti vang nishpadya namadheya matram labhante. So nirupitaha santah. If you really inquire into what is the essence or what is the reality of a pot, then you find that other than clay there is nothing else other than the name pot. So ghatoyam Sharavayam, this is a pot, this is a plate. Iti Vang Nishpadya Namadheyamatram Labante. Only thing that remains there is the word pot which is originated from speech. That's all. So pot is originated from speech. What's the cause of pot? Speech is the cause of the pot. Because there is no reality or no real essential thing called the pot. So thus we can say that everything has an inherent aspect and an incidental aspect, or a tattvic aspect, what is essentially true and what is vyavaharika, what is empirically true. So Jagat also has its two realities: an empirical reality, usefulness. Brahman has no usefulness at all. Brahman cannot, it is samsara agrahyam, avyapadesham, agrahyam, avyavaharyam. Brahman is avyavaharyam. In that sense, not useful. But then, usefulness does not determine that reality of something. It is the essentialness that determines the reality. अतः निर्वस्तुकत्वे सति उपलभ्यमानत्व रूपेण मिथ्यात्व लक्षणेन उपेतत्वात् असत्याः विकाराः. अतः निर्वस्तुकत्वे, there is no vastutvam, there is no essentiality as far as a pot or a plate is concerned. Upalabhyamanatva swarupena, in reality they are not there and still they are perceived. And so yadasat bhasamanam tanmithya swapna gajadivat, that's the mithya definition. Yadasat bhasamanam, that which is not there in reality but still appears to be there is called mithya. Swapna gajadivat, like the elephants etc. seen in the dream. Similarly also, that lakshanam of mithya, that character of mithya very much applies to this pot. Nirvastukatve sati upalabhyamanatva swarupena asat bhasamanam. Nirvastukatve sati, even though there is no vastutvam, no essentiality in the pot, bhasamanatva rupena, and still it is perceived. Mithyatva lakshanen upedatvat, therefore these pots and pans are all upedatvat, possessed of mithyatva lakshanam, the characteristic which applies to mithya. And therefore vikaraha asatyaha vikaraha, so all modifications are asatya, are false, are unreal, are mithya. मृत्तिका तो विकार व्यतिरेकेण अपि स्वरूपम लभते. A pot cannot attain its existence apart from clay, whereas clay very much retains or attains existence without the pot. So this is Anvaya and Vyatireka. That the clay is, pot is, clay is, pot is not, clay is. Or clay is, pot is. Clay is not, pot is not. Therefore, clay enjoys an independent reality, pot enjoys dependent reality. Therefore, for Vedanta, that which enjoys dependent reality is mithya, and what has independent reality is satyam. तथा ब्रह्मोपदेश अवगंतव्य. This is a discussion about Drishtanta. The Drishtanta is Jagat and Brahma. तथा ब्रह्मोपदेश अवगंतव्य. कथम स आदेश स्यात् एक विज्ञानेन सर्व विज्ञानम. How can it be that you know everything by knowing one? So, in a manner similar to understanding the nature of parts with reference to clay, Brahmopadesha avagantavya. We should understand this Upadesha, teaching about Brahman also. Brahmani mrittika nyayasya jagati ghatadi nyayasya yojayitum shakyatvat. So interestingly enough, it is not said that Brahmaiva Satyam, so Vacharambanam Jagad Nama, it's not said that. Vacharambanam Vikaro Nama Mrittika Ityeva Satyam. Even though this is Upadesha with reference to clay and the parts, but you should understand that as Upadesha about Brahman, Tatha Brahmopadesha avagantave. We should apply this example to understand also the nature of Jagat and Brahma. Brahmani mrittika nyayasya shakyatvat. That Brahman stands for where mrittika in that example, where mrittika stands, that is where Brahman stands. Jagati ghatadi nyayasya yojayitum shakyatvat. In the example where ghata is there Jagat Vikara is there, that's where Jagat fits in there. Tasmat Jagataha Brahma Abhedat Advaitam Brahma Tatvikam. If Chhandogya had said it very clearly that this discussion was not necessary. But Chhandogya doesn't clearly say that. It says about the pots and clay. Doesn't say that accordingly, hey Shvetaketu, this Jagat is Mithya and Brahma is Satyam. Then it says in its own way, but does not say it in a language in which the mithyatvam of the ghata, vacharambanam, vikaro namadhayam. Then vikara can be anything. But in this case, mrittika ityavas, as mrittika, it is satyam. So, tasmat jagataha brahma abheda. Therefore, Jagat being non-separate from Brahma. Advaitam Brahma Tatvikam. So Mrittika ityeva Satyam. This is Mrittika, as Mrittika alone, it is Satyam. The pot has reality as clay. Or pot is Mithya and clay is real. Similarly, Jagat. So that example can apply anywhere now. Whatever is non-separate from another thing is unreal. Whatever is non-separate from the other thing is unreal, and that which is independent is real. So we can apply that rule also with reference to Jagat. Tasmat Jagataha Brahma Abhedat. Jagat being non-separate from Brahma. Advaitam Brahma Tatvikam. Therefore, Brahma that is non-dual is Tatvikam, is real. Evam vida vichara shunyanam purushanam. Those people who cannot deliberate in this manner, those who cannot do vichara, deliberation in this manner, so vichara shunyanam purushanam apada dushtya vedena abhyupeta advitya brahma pratipatte pratyakshadibihi veda pratipattesya सद्भावात् समुद्र तरंग न्यायेन भेदाभेदौ अवभासेते. एवंविध विचार शून्यानाम, those who do not have the subtlety to deliberate upon the reality of the Jagat, who cannot go beyond akara, those who cannot go beyond the shape of the form. Purusha apad dushtya vedena abhyupeda advitya brahma pratipatte. So these people, when they listen to Upanishad, then they realize that Brahma is advitiyam. So these people also, by Shravanam or listening to Veda, they do understand that Brahman is advitiyam, non-dual, one. And pratyakshavidi bheda pratipattescha, whereas by perception they see the bheda or the division. So sadbhavat, so that also is there. So by Shastra Pramana, Brahma is non-dual. By the Pratyaksha Pramana, Jagat is all full of divisions or duality. Therefore, samudra taranganyayena bheda bhedo avabhasete. Therefore, they come to a conclusion that reality is bheda bhedo. Reality is abheda, bhinna also and bhinna also. One reality. From the standpoint of cause, the reality is one. From the standpoint of effect, reality is many. This is the conclusion they arrive at. Who are the people? Those who do not have the subtlety to go beyond what the perception says. Those who take the perception as revealing the reality. So therefore, bheda bheda avabhasete. To them, bheda and abheda. Bheda because of perception, abheda because of Upanishad or scripture. Tasmat vyavaharika vidi sthitihi. It is to them alone that bheda bhedo bhasate. To a person who can see through the shape, he sees only one. So does everybody see bheda bhedo? No. Only people who do not inquire into, who do not have the subtlety to penetrate the form, they think that the pot also is real and clay also is real. As clay, it is one. As pots and pans, it is many. This is their conclusion. But the one who can penetrate through the form of the pot and see that this pot does not have a reality other than clay, to that person, he sees only clay. Even when you present a pot and a pan and all this before that person, he sees only one, namely clay, does not see bheda and abheda. One who cannot go beyond perception, he sees bheda and abheda. So just because somebody sees bheda bhedo does not mean that's so. Why do some people see bheda bhedo? If according to Vedanta the reality is Advaita or one, why do we find people seeing the bheda and abheda, the oneness and manyness also? That is because they do not understand that manyness is mithya, because manyness is perceived by sense organs, therefore manyness also is taken to be real. And from Shruti they know Brahman is one. So that way that also is real. That's how reality is bheda bhedo. In fact, for a person who can see through the bheda, he sees only abheda or advaita, and therefore bheda bhedo is vyavahariko, it is sthitihi. So this is what it gets, it stands there. That bheda bhedo is not tattviko, vyavahariko. Alright, with that background now we can come to Brahma Sutra, page 372. As we said yesterday, says Ratnaprabha, Purvasminneva Purvapakshe Brahma Abhinna Vivartavadena Mukhyam Samadhanam Aha. Purvasminneva Purvapakshe, whatever Purvapaksha was there in the previous Adhikaranam, same Purvapaksha again is taken up here. That we see duality here. And therefore, duality also is real and non-duality also is real. So, Purvapakshe Vivartavadena Mukhyam Samadhanamaha. So, Syad Lokavat, so Bhoktu Apattehe. That person said that if the cause is non-dual, then the Jagat also should be non-dual. These divisions of the Bhokta and Bhogya should not be there. Therefore, Brahman must be non-dual, alright. By the same time, Jagat is dual. This answer was given. That's alright. Non-duality of Brahman does not contradict the duality of Jagat, because non-duality of ocean does not contradict, oneness of ocean does not contradict the manyness of the waves, etc. This answer was temporarily given. Same Purvapaksha is taken now, and Vivartavadena Mukhyam Samadhanamaha. Vivartavadena, based on the Vivartavada. What is Vivartavada? That what we call the creation is the Adhyaropa, Asarvabhutayam, Rajvam, Sarparopa, where there is no snakeness at all. Upon that rope, you superimpose the idea of snake, and therefore it is Atasmin Tad Buddhya, etc. So, Viparita Vartanam Vivartam. That which appears to be different from what it really is called Vivarta. All of this will be clarified in the Vedanta Sara very well, you know. Sustadanyatvam. Okay, let us read the sutra again. Tat ananyatvam arambhana shabdadibhyah Sri Ratnava samana vishayatvam sangatim vadan. The Vishaya of the previous Adhikarana and this Adhikarana is the same. Of the whole chapter is the same. Anyway, which is the Samanvaya. Samanvaya is the Vishaya. Uvayoho pariharayoho parinama vivartashayatvena arthabedamaha. So, here also samana vishayatvam is samana purvapakshatvam. Purvapaksha is the same in both these adhikaranas. But parihara is different. Purvapaksha is the same in previous adhikarana and this adhikarana, but parihara, the way the purvapaksha is refuted, is different. So parinama, so pariharayoho parinama vivarta ashrayatvena arthabedamaha. That in the Purvas Adhikaranam, the Parihara, the refutation was based on the Parinamavada, that waves and the foam and the bubble are the Parinama modifications of ocean. Accepting that Parinama, the tentative explanation was given how the oneness of ocean is not in any way opposed to the manyness of the waves. But here it is said that all there is water and there is nothing else. That's a Vivartavadena Arthabedama. Therefore, there is definitely a different subject matter or different explanation in this Adhikarana as compared to the previous Adhikarana. So, Abhivagamyeti. Same thing is said by Nyayendra also. Advitiya Brahmana Jagat Sargavadina Samanvayasya Purvat Vedagrahi Pratyakshadi Virodha Sandehe. Same Sandeha. That what the Upanishad says contradicts what we perceive in our day-to-day life. Upanishad says that reality is one. What we perceive is manyness in our life. So Sandehe. Is Upanishad right or is perception right? Both are right. Was a tentative answer given earlier. Purva adhikarane bhedagrahi mana avirodha upadanat punaruktim ashankya. Looks like here also you are dealing with the same topic, and so is it punarukti. So sangatim vadan avagatarthamaha. So Bhashyakara says the Sangati and tells us what has gone by in the previous Adhikaranam. Abhivagamyeti. Bhashya says Abhivagamyacha imam vyavaharikam bhoktrabhogya lakshanam vibhagam syallokavata iti pariharaha abhihitaha. Abhivagamya cha imam vyavaharikam bhoktrabhogya lakshana vibhagam. This empirical vibhaga the empirical division between the bhokta and the bhogya was accepted for the sake of argument. For the sake of argument, in the previous adhikarana, accepting the empirical difference or duality or division between the bhogya and the bhokta. Syal lokavaditi parihara abhihitah. The parihara, the refutation, was given there as syal lokavada. Let it be understood as we see in our day-to-day experience how there is oneness in ocean and still there is manyness in waves, etc. Says Nyayana angikritya hi vedagrahi pramanasya pramanyam. That what the perception says is also right. In the previous adhikaranam, what was accepted is, all right, you perceive duality in the world and Upanishad reveals non-duality, that both of them are okay, that non-duality of Upanishad, Brahman, does not contradict the duality of perception by the nyaya of samudra and taranga. So, Vedagrahi Pramanasya Pramanyam. Perception is Vedagrahi Pramanam. Perception is Pramana, means of knowledge, which only perceives the Veda or divisions. Veda Vedeho Rupa Vedena Viroda Samahitaha. Upanishad talks about Abheda as the cause. Perception reveals Veda. Therefore, there seems to be a contradiction between them. That contradiction was resolved by the example of ocean and waves. Says Ratnaprabha, Pratyakshadinam outsarga pramanyam angikritya. So, Pratyakshadinam outsargiga pramanyam, a general pramanyam. That pratyaksha, anumana, we accept 6 pramanas. Pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, anupalabdhi and shabda. So these pramanas we accept arthapatti. So accepting those pramanas as revealing the truth. Pratyakshadina, because 2 pramanas were used in arguments earlier, pratyaksha and anumana, and shrutarthapatti. So tesham outsargiga pramanyam angikritya, accepting a tentative pramanyam or the vyavaharik pramanyam of them. Utsarga is a general rule and apavada becomes an exception. Sthula buddhi samadhanartham, for explaining the people of a little dull intellect. Parinama dushtantena bheda bhedao uktau. So by the dushtanta of parinama, by parinama modification, bheda and abheda were explained. Samprati angikrutam pramanyam tattvavedakaptvat prachavya. Angikrutam pramanyam, that pratyaksha, anumana, etc. have pramanyam in revealing the truth. That was accepted tentatively in the earlier adhikarana, prachavya. Now, dismissing the pramanyam of the reality of the perception, etc. That tattva vedakatvat, that these pramanas do not reveal the reality. They reveal the vyavahara all right, but then the perception, inference, etc. do not reveal the reality. And therefore, tattva avedakatvat, because they do not reveal the reality, prachavya, therefore they were dismissed from or fallen down from the absolute to the vyavaharika. Vyavaharikatve sthapyate. That these perception others have validity as far as vyavahara or empirical reality is concerned. They do not have validity as far as the absolute truth is concerned. For in the previous adhikaranam, it was accepted that perception also reveals the truth. And then the tentative explanation was given. But now it is a perception does not reveal the truth. Perception and all of them, all other pramanas based on perception, including Shabda means the local Shabda. None of them reveal the reality. तथा च मिथ्याद्वैतग्राही प्रमाणैः अद्वैतश्रुतेः न बाधः. Therefore, mithya advaitagrahi pramanahi, perception and other pramanas which only have the reach with reference to mithya, which is duality, which is mithya. So all that perception, inference, all of them can comprehend what? Only duality, which is mithya. And therefore, what the conclusions drawn based on this perception of others, those conclusions cannot be used to contradict what the Shruti says. So, mithya dvaita grahi pramanahi advaita shrutehe navadaha, that they do not in any way contradict what the Advaita Shruti says. Ekasyam rajvam danda sragadi dvaita darshanat iti ayam mukhya parihara iti bhavaha. Because ekasyam rajvam danda sragadi dvaita darshanat, in one rope somebody sees a mala, a garland, somebody sees a danda or a stick. So how there is the multiple perception or many perceptions as far as one rope is concerned, but the manyness of the snake and the garland etc. do not contradict the oneness of rope. So even though somebody says this is rope, this is snake, somebody says this is garland etc., but those things do not contradict the vision of this person who says this is a rope, because a mithyagrahi, the snake etc., whoever sees that pramanam which revealed this object as snake or revealed the object as a garland is a mithyagrahi pramanam that only functions in the realm of mithya, and therefore it does not contradict the reality, in this case the rope. Ityam mukhya parihara. Therefore, the parihara, the refutation given in this adhikaranam is the mukhya, the main refutation from the Vedantic standpoint. So Bhashyakara says, न तो अयम विभाग है परमार्थतः अस्ति यस्मात् तयोः कार्यकारणयोः अनन्यत्वम् अवगम्यते. तत् अनन्यत्वम् is what? तयोः अनन्यत्वम्. So न तो अयम विभाग है परमार्थतः अस्ति. However, this vibhaga, that the effect is many, cause is one, which what you find in the vyavahara, in the empirical reality, nadu tat paramarthastu nasa paramartha asti. In reality, that vibhaga, or even bhokta and bhogya, even the subject and object, that vibhaga, that division also is not ultimately real. Ultimately, both of them drop off. When you pursue inquiry further, if you just stop at the bhokta and bhogya, think that that's a reality, then it's okay. But if you pursue what's the nature of this bhokta, who is this bhokta? He will turn out to be nothing but consciousness. Asti, bhati, priyam. What is the essence of bhokta? Bhokta also changes constantly. So depending on what I experience, the experiencer changes depending on the object of experience. So if I am experiencing the Shabda, then I am experiencer of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. As the objects change, experiencer also changes. So what is changing cannot be real, that everybody accepts. So what is the unchanging aspect of experiencer? that I am a listener, I am a seer, I am a taster, I am a toucher, I am a smeller. It keeps on changing. But I am does not change. Never. That alone is the essential aspect or essential nature of the smeller and taster and toucher, etc. And similarly also, what is the essential or abiding aspect of what we call bhogya? The objects also asti, bhati, priyam. So when you pursue the inquiry further, you realize that bhokta also is asti, bhati, priyam. Bhogya also is asti, bhati, priyam. So the akara, bhokta is an akara, is a form. Bhogya is an akara, is a form. This akara is a drop off. What remains is nirakara or devoid of akara, that is asti, bhati, priyam. Therefore, advaita samanvayasya, ayam vibhaga na paramata asti. This vibhaga, when you pursue the inquiry further, no more remains. It melts away. As the scientists tell us, that the universe appears to be very solid, tangible. That depends upon how you are perceiving. But if you ride on a vehicle, on a rocket, which can really go at very high speeds, then as the speed of the rocket increases, the speed of witness increases, then slowly these tangible shapes start losing their tangibility. They become wavy. And theoretically, if you attain the speed of light, only theoretical, then there is no form remaining. So form also does not have ultimate reality. So that's what Vedanta says. You don't have to increase your speed. Just inquire into the reality. What is reality? The abaditam satyam. What is abaditam? What is the non-negatable abiding aspect of the bhokta and bhogya? When you inquire that way, bhokta and bhogya, they do not remain. What remains is just one non-dual consciousness or asti bhati priyam. न तो अयम विभाग है परमार्थ अस्ति यस्मात् तयोः कार्य कारणसु तद अनन्यत्वम. इस बहुत एक्सप्लेन भाष्यकार सेज न्याय निर्णय यथोक्त विभागस्य वस्तुतः सत्वे हेतुत्वेन तद अनन्यमिति सूत्र अवयव विभजते. So this is tad ananyatvat. In fact, so yathoka vibhagasya vastu asatve. That bhokta bhogya vibhaga is in reality unreal. For explaining that or for proving that hetutvena tat ananyatvam vidi, so tat ananyatvam becomes a hetu. For what? To show that the vibhaga when bhokta and bhogya is unreal. For that, tat ananyatvam. So tat ananyatvat. So yasmat. So Bhashyakara added yasmat there. Yasmat tayoho. Or even Ratnavara also say evam advaita samanvayasya avirodhartam dvaitasya mithyatvam sadhayati. That dvaita that you experience in day-to-day life does not contradict the advitiyatvam of Brahman. For that, dvaitasya mithyatvam. So Brahman can be non-dual only if Jagat is mithya. So one can be real only when the many is mithya, otherwise not. So mithyatvam sadhayati yasmat tayoho karya karanayoho ananyatvam avagamyate. Because this is what we find. Karya karanayoho ananyatvam. That karya, the effect, is ananya, is non-separate from karanam, the material cause. This is what we understand. So karye viparipatti nirasartham vishinasti. What do you mean by karya? So in this instance, what do you mean by karya? You mean the pots and pan? He says, no, no. So, vipratipatti nirasartham, any kind of different opinions can be there. To eliminate them, Bhashyakara explains what is meant by karyam. So, karyam akashadikam bahuprapancham jagat. So, tayoho कार्य कारणयोः ananyatvam upavagamyate. Shruti only tells us the ananyatvam, non-separatedness of the pot and the clay. But what we understand from that is ananyatvam, non-separatedness of Jagat from Brahma. Shruti tells us the mithyatvam of the pot. What we understand is mithyatvam of Jagat. So that should be very clear. Karyam akashadikam bahuprapancham jagat. The jagat of the universe, beginning with akasha, having all this multiplicity, is what is meant by karyam. That's the effect. Karanepi vipratipattim niragartam vishesham adatte. So the karya and karana that sutra talks about is karya is jagat and karanam, Bhashyakara said, karanam param brahma. And so karanam here is param brahma, the Brahman that is param, ultimate, supreme or limitless. कार्य कारणयोः अनन्यत्वम् इति उक्ते मिथ अनन्यत्वं शंकितं व्यावर्तयति. The interesting thing is, when you say that the karya and karana are non-separate, does it mean that effect is non-separate from cause and cause is non-separate from effect? Is what you mean? Tad ananyatvam, tayoho ananyatvam, tayoho कार्य कारणयोः ananyatvam. The cause and effect are non-separate. So somebody may conclude that effect is non-separate from cause and cause is non-separate from effect. Tayoho, so mitho ananyatvam shankidam. Somebody think each one is non-separate from the other. So vyavartayati tasmadeti, Bhashyakara says. Tasmad कारणात् परमार्थतः अनन्यत्वं व्यतिरेकेण अभावः कार्यस्य अवगम्यते. So only one way, that karyam is karana ananyam. The effect is non-separate from cause. Cause is separate from effect. That's a very unique equation. मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहम तेषु अवस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि. They are all superimposed upon me. They are adhyaropa. I am adhishthanam. न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि. Ultimately, they are not there at all. All there is I. Equation Lord Krishna said very beautifully. From Vyavaharic standpoint, that Jagat is mithya and Ishvara is satyam. But from the ultimate standpoint, Jagat is not there. All there is Ishvara. Vasudeva sarvamiti. All there is Vasudeva. So tasmat karanat paramarthatah karanat. Therefore karanam, cause which is paramartham, which is absolute. Ananyatvam. What is ananyatvam? Bhashyakara explains. Vyatirekena abhavaha. So this is Bhashyakara's explanation. Ananyatam vyatirekena abhavaha. Non-existence in isolation with the cause. So vyatirekena does not exist without the cause. Effect does not exist without the cause. So vyatirekena abhavaha karyasya avagamyate. From that drishtanta, this is what we will say, that karyasya karana vyatirekena abhava avagamyate. The defect is non-separate from cause. This is what we understand from that example. So even in the Upanishad also, all of these things are not so elaborately discussed as in Brahma Sutra. I mean, that's the reason why, but then here how elaborately this one, still we are all going around one passage only. Sadeva Somme idam agrasit ekameva dvitiyam. All the Brahma Sutras are all based on that one sentence, That's the perhaps one of the most important statements, you see. ननु कार्य प्रपंचस्य भेदाभेदाभ्याम अनिर्वाच्यताम इच्छन् कारणात् परमार्थ अनन्यत्वं व्याचक्षाणः सोक्ति विरोधं कथं न अधिगच्छति. कार्य प्रपंचस्य भेदाभेदाभ्याम अनिर्वाच्यताम इच्छन्. That karya prapancha is bheda and abheda. Abheda at the level of cause, bheda at the level of effect. So, anirvachyatam icchan, therefore it is anirvachya or mithya. Karanat paramarthatah ananyatvam vyachakshana. And you are saying that the karyam, that is jagat, is non-separate from Brahman, which is the absolute reality. Swokti virodham katham nadhigacchi. Then how do you say tadananyatvam? So ananyatvam is ananyatvam. So one, they are non-separate. So how do you, on one hand you say that tad ananyatvam, that they are non-separate from each other. On the other hand you say that karya is mithya, anirvachaniya, and karanam is satyam. So are you not contradicting yourself? Tatra vyatirekena abhava. So ananyatvam we explained as vyatirekena abhava. Effect cannot exist without the cause. यस्मात् एवं अवगम्यते तस्मात् परमार्थतः विभाग नास्ति इति. Because ananyatvam is understood by us as vyatirekena abhava. That karya abhava, karana vyatirekena karyasya abhava. This is all because ananyatvam means that. So sutrakara means this by ananyatvam, not mutual ananyatvam. व्यतिरेकण भाव तस्मात् परमार्थतः विभागो नास्ति इति तद्ग्राह्यमानं व्यावहारिकमानत्वात् तात्विकमानस्य समन्वयस्य अविरोधी. There was this pratyaksha, perception, inference, etc., which reveal the duality, simply have their scope with reference to the empirical world, and therefore they do not have the capacity to contradict what the Shruti says, which reveals the absolute reality. Karyasya karana atirekena bhave hetum pruchhati. How do you say that the effect is non-separate from the cause? On what basis? So he says, kutaha. So he is asking, on what basis do you say that the effect is non-separate from cause? Bhuvutsidhe hetu vishayam sutra bhagam avatarayati. So now bhuvuts hetu vishayam. The reason why you say that karya is non-separate from karan, what is the reason? That second sutra bhaga is explained here. Arambhana shabdadibhyah. Really, the whole sutra is already explained. Tad ananyatvam tayoho karya karanayoho ananyatvam agamyade. Katham arambhana shabdadibhyah. Tatra bheda nisheda hetum arambhana shabdam vyakaroti. How this word arambhana is bheda hetu, bheda nisheda hetum, is the very reason for negating the bheda of the duality. How this word arambhana is able to dismiss or negate the duality? How does it do that? That's what Bhashyakara explains. What an amount of deliberation, Bhashyakara must have, at what level he must be thinking. How he penetrates to Even this sutra is more difficult than Upanishad, in fact, because the sutra is so brief. Then how do you connect with what part of the Upanishad it comes from? And how this sutra answers all possible questions and doubts. I guess he must have learned from his teacher. We take it for granted, But I do not know that he stayed long enough with his teacher to study all of this. But anyway, so Bhashyakara says, Arambana Shabdaha Tavat Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam Pratignyaya Drushtanta Apekshayam Uchyate Yatha Somya Ekena Vritpindena Sarvam Brunmayam Vijnatam Syad Vacharambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam Mrittiketyeva Satyam Iti. So Arambana Shabdadibhya, where do you find this Shabda Arambana? Arambana Shabda, explain this word Arambana then. Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam Pratignyaya. So how did Chhandogya begin? With the Pratignya, the proposition of Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam. How everything is known by knowing one. Yena Ashrutam Shrutam Bhavati Amatam Matam Avijnatam Vijnatam Iti. That is the Pratignya. Of Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam. That Pratignya is interpreted that way. Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam. Because this trend is found elsewhere also. So Kasmin Bhagava Vijnate Sarvam Vijnatam Bhavati Iti. And then what is it? Tad Drushte Shrute Mate Vijnate Sarvidam Viditam. So in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also. So this is a trend of knowing everything by knowing one. So Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam Pratignyaya. First of all, the teacher made a proposition that one knows everything by knowing one. Dushtanta Apekshayam. So where do you find this? So when you make a pratignya, in any kind of a nyaya, you have to have this pratignya and then hetu and then dushtanta. These three things must be there. Pratignya, hetu and vyapti. Therefore now when pratignya is made, there is an apeksha. Then where do you find this? So Parvato Vandiman, that Parvata, that hillock has fire. When you make this called pratignya, when you make the statement, immediate question arises, how do you say that? Dhumatvat. Because of smoke. Where did you find it? So dushtanta. That's how at least these three elements must be there. Therefore, so drishtanta apekshayam. Now there is an expectancy of drishtanta, expectancy of an illustration by which we can understand how by knowing one thing you know everything. Uchyate, that is what Upanishad said. Yatha somya ekena mritpindena. He somya yatha ekena mritpindena vijnatena. In fact, sarvam mrunmam vijnatam syat. By knowing one clod of earth, how everything made of earth is as well known. Vacharambhanam vikara namadheyam. What's called vikara or a modification has its origin only in the speech. Vacharambhanam has speech as the. So vikara hai vacharambhanam, vikaro nama. What is called vikara is vacharambhanam, has its origin in speech. Is the creation of speech, creation of mind. Mrittika ityeva satyam. That what is real, so namadheyam, it exists only in name. So what we call vikara or modification of karya has its origin in speech and is only in name, exists only in name, nothing more than that. Mritika ityeva satyam. In that example, mritika iti satyam. So two ways you can say. Mritika iti means what? Mritika is taken as upadana karanam. So as upadana karanam alone is satyam, or mritika iti satyam, as mritika, as clay, the pot is real and not as a form, as akara. Iti. Says Ratnaprabha. So Vyatireka and Abhava means what? Karanat pruthak sattva shunyatvam karyasya sadhyate na aikyamidhi. There is no aikya between karya karana. There is ananyatvam of the karya karana. So what is not aikyam? Ananyatvam. Karanat pruthak sattva shunyatvam karyasya sadhyate. So what the Sutrakara means to say is that the karya or the effect does not exist apart from karanam or the material cause. That's all what is meant. Naikyam. By the word ananyatvam, the Sutrakara does not mean the oneness of the cause and effect. He means that the effect does not have an existence apart from cause. Okay, we'll continue next time. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. हाँ काले तो क्लास नहीं होय परम दिवस આપણે ક્લાસ નહીં રાખીએ કાલે બહુ મોડું થઈ જશે કાલે આપણો કાર્યક્રમ છે